All right, let's dive into one of the wildest, funniest, and honestly one of the most important short stories in all of Russian literature, Nikolai Gogol's The Nose. Seriously, this thing is a masterclass in absurdity. It kicks off with a totally impossible event and just spirals from there into this brilliant satire on vanity, on bureaucracy, and on life in 19th century Russia. And Gogol just throws us right into the deep end with this legendary opening line. No messing around, he just tells us flat out something extraordinarily strange happened. But notice how he does it. This isn't some fairy tale, right? He gives us a specific date, a real place, St. Petersburg. He's reporting it like it's a fact. And that really sets the tone for this world, where the completely impossible is treated like, just another Tuesday. So, this strange occurrence, it actually begins with two different guys whose mornings are about to be completely ruined in very, very different, yet somehow connected ways. We've got a simple barber on one hand and this super ambitious government official on the other, and their lives are about to collide in the weirdest way you can imagine. Okay, so picture this. Over on one side of town, you've got this barber, Ivan Yakovlevich, sitting down for breakfast. He cuts into a fresh loaf of bread and boom, there's a nose inside. And what's worse, he recognizes it. At the exact same time, across the city, collegiate assessor Kovalyov wakes up, goes to look in the mirror, and sees nothing but a perfectly smooth surface where his nose is supposed to be. And this part is key. This is where you see what Gogol is really getting at. Kovalyov's first thought isn't, oh my God, I've been disfigured. No, it's pure panic about his social life. See, this guy is obsessed with his rank. He makes everyone call him Major, and with his appearance. How is he supposed to climb the social ladder or even just be seen in polite society without a nose? For him, the vanity, the embarrassment is way, way worse than the actual physical loss. So what do you do when your nose runs away? Well, you go looking for it, of course. And this is the point in the story where things go from just plain strange to absolutely 100% surreal. And then we get this incredible moment. This scene right here perfectly captures the story's bizarre genius. Kovalyov is out and about when he spots his nose, getting out of a fancy carriage. But it's not just a nose. It's wearing a full uniform with gold embroidery, a big plumed hat. It's even got a sword. It's dressed as a state councillor, a rank that's way higher than Kovalyov's. His own nose now outranks him. I mean, can you even imagine this? Kovalyov, a guy totally obsessed with status, has to approach his own body part like he's talking to a superior officer. He can't just snatch it back. He has to be all polite, tripping over his words, trying to explain this very delicate situation. And the nose's reply? Oh, it's just perfect. It's so cold, so dismissive, it completely shuts him down. I am on my own, it says, as if it's a completely separate person. And in this absurd world, it is. The uniform and the rank are more real than biology. The nose is a state councillor, and that's all that matters. So yeah, this really gets to the core of Gogol's satire. Back then, this super rigid social hierarchy called the table of ranks literally defined who you were. Your entire worth was tied to your title. So Kovalyov's freaking out not just because he's missing part of his face, but because he, a major, has been ditched and basically demoted by his own nose. So what's next? Since he can't reason with the nose itself, Kovalyov turns to the official channels of St. Petersburg for help. He tries the police, he tries the newspaper, and he very quickly learns that in this bureaucratic nightmare, logic is completely useless. I mean, on paper, his plan makes perfect sense, right? Step 1, confront the nose. Okay, that failed spectacularly. So step 2, report it to the police chief. And step 3, alert the public by putting an ad in the newspaper. Seems rational, but every single one of these logical steps is met with total, baffling irrationality. His trip to the newspaper office is just a perfect slice of this comedic frustration. He goes in and tries to explain that he needs to place a wanted ad for a runaway nose. He even offers a reward. The clerk, as you can imagine, is just completely baffled. But you have to hear the clerk's reason for saying no. It's not, "Sir, are you crazy?" It's that printing such a bizarre story might hurt the newspaper's reputation. Public image is way more important than helping a man with his very absurd, but for him, very real problem. So after hitting a brick wall at every turn, Kovalyov basically gives up. He's in despair. The story seems like it's at a dead end. But then, just as randomly and weirdly as it all started, the whole thing takes another sharp turn.
A police officer just shows up at his door. He says they caught the nose, trying to escape the city and head to Riga using a fake passport. The officer just hands it over, all neatly wrapped in a piece of paper. It seems like the crisis is finally over. Except it's not over, not even close. Kovalyov has his nose back, but he can't get it to stick back on his face. It's just an object. He even calls a doctor who pokes at it for a bit, suggests maybe he should preserve it in a jar of alcohol, and then charges him for the visit and leaves. The nose is back, but Kovalyov is still noseless. And then, after all that drama, about 2 weeks after it disappeared, on April 7th, Kovalyov wakes up, glances in the mirror, and it's just there. The nose is right back where it's supposed to be. No explanation, no reason given. It's just back as if absolutely nothing happened. So what was the point of all that? Well, in the final part of the story, Gogol basically breaks the fourth wall and starts talking directly to us, the reader, and he doesn't try to explain a thing. In fact, he does the opposite. He leans right into the absurdity of it all. He straight up admits that the story makes no sense. He calls it inconceivable, says he can't understand it himself. He even makes fun of the whole idea that stories are supposed to have a moral, saying this one has no benefit for the fatherland. The whole point of the story is that maybe there is no point. And he leaves us with this incredible, chillingly strange final line. After admitting the entire thing is nonsense, he just claims that, well, things like this just happen sometimes. He completely refuses to give us a neat, tidy ending. It just leaves you to wonder about that really thin line between the reality we think we know and the pure absurdity that's always bubbling just underneath. What happens when the world just stops making sense? Well, according to Gogol, sometimes it just does.